Hello, Bo. How are you?
I'm a wonderful, Tom. How are you?
Great, thanks. People are starting to show up and pretty regular here. We'll give them a couple more minutes.
Excellent. Yeah, it's only
Yep,
10:56, so we're
you
doing good.
bet.
I did
We'll give
notice
'em-
that because of the confusion in time zones, that there were two people that connected earlier.
a lot of times people will click on just to see if the link works. So
Oh, okay. So maybe
yeah,
that was it.
could
That'd be
be.
cool.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we'll give them another few minutes, and um, don't forget we want to record this if we can, so that we can share it with people that aren't able to make the live broadcast. That'd be great.
It is recording. And you can see the landing page, right?
Better unmute myself so you can hear me. Yes, everything looks good.
I can read your lips.
All right. Thanks. How's the weather in San Diego today?
Same as always.
75 degrees, sunny.
Actually, yesterday it got up to 90. It was pretty dang hot.
It's unusual. You guys don't usually get that hot weather, eh?
Mm, I'm out in kind of East County, so it gets warm out here every once in a while.
So how far are you from the ocean? Oh,
Probably 15 minutes, 20
yeah,
minutes.
great. Every time I've been in the city, I've always been down near the ocean, so I've always got that nice cool breeze.
Oh, yeah. Of course, it was kind of a shock last week when we were up at Snowbird, and it was, I think, 8 degrees and 4 degrees and snowing. And
You would love Saskatchewan. It was snowing yesterday, and then it was beautiful sunshine. Then it was hailing. Then it was beautiful sunshine. Then it was snowing.
I lived in Colorado for a couple of years, and I, I've experienced that kind of weather. You go walking into a mall with shorts, and you walk out, and there's 2 inches of snow on your car.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you live in Saskatchewan, you can have all 4 days if you're not careful. So,
Yeah. Hello, Joe.
Hey, Bo. Hi, Thomas.
hey, Joe, how you doing, man?
Groovy, man.
Good.
Groovy.
Thanks for joining us, Joe. Feel free to lead in on the discussion.
Looks like you got a good group on there.
Yeah,
Good for you guys.
you bet. Well, I think we're pretty much ready to roll, though. It is 12 noon, so we'll stick to the time schedule. If you hit the record button, we'll
It is
save it for people later. And
currently being
thanks,
recorded.
everybody. You bet. Thanks, everybody. You'll see Bo Brandon's picture on the screen there. Bo is kind of our technical liaison with Estimate Scrubber. And I've been working with him the last little while just to kind of help really utilize what Estimate Scrubber is capable of doing. And just to qualify, one of the things we've talked to SGI about is we would like to use the Estimate Scrubber not only to help body shops get paid for each and every item that they're entitled to, but also we want to help the body shops to develop a proper estimate that doesn't get rejected by Image Desk or doesn't get rejected by the audit team later on down the road. So, because anytime you get a rejection, it slows things down. Anytime you have an audit, it can cost you money. So the purpose of Scrubber, we're kind of starting to add stuff in from the estimating pages of SGI's estimating manual so that you don't have a problem. Oh, there's Terry. How you doing, Terry?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
So anyway, we're going to start off with a couple things that you may or may not be aware of. One of the things, and I'm almost let Joe Cardiff speak to this, but you'll see on the left-hand side of the page where it says Automate PDF. And what that is a little description of how you save a file in Ultimate using the EMS procedure, which you would pull it into your estimate or your management system. You can actually save a PDF copy automatically. I don't know if you want to walk through that real quick, Bo or Joe. How does that sound?
Give her, Mr. Bo.
I don't mind.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so our software is a web-based application. There is no software to download, no any kind of issues with it interfering with your network or your computers or anything like that. The cool part is we are all web-based. So if there's any updates or anything like that, it all happens up on the cloud. And we're not trying to beat up on you guys and your workstations or your computers. To have that happen, our software requires that the estimate be in a PDF form. So probably very similar to what you might do with sending an estimate to somebody else through the email or something. You create a PDF of it and save it and then send it through the email. What we've come across is with Ultimate and Mitchell in general, you can automate this process of creating a PDF. And the directions for going through step by step are over here on the left-hand side. You just go through, hit their different areas, hit set up the preference, set up an export where you're going to export that PDF file. Then a directory, or a lot of people just set it up right onto the desktop. And then all you have to do, I believe, Joe, right? You just have to go to File, Export, right?
Yeah, and then choose your file.
Yep. And then it automatically sets it up. That one of the biggest things was people going, hey, now I have to create a PDF of it. Although it's super simple with Windows 10, you just go, print a PDF. The cool part is with Mitchell is we've come up with or have found this shortcut where you just kind of click, and now it's more automated. It's just a PDF and it's there and it's ready to scrub at that point.
So essentially, what you've set up your file, and you could call it Estimate Scrubber PDFs. As soon as you do the EMS function, it'll automatically populate itself in that file. When you go to scrub it, maybe what I'll do, Bo, is ask you to select a file and show people where you insert it to scrub the estimate.
Okay, so the next thing to do is to scrub an estimate. You would choose your profile, which these are the profiles that Tom has.
I'm going to answer your question at the same time. I don't have to think about it.
Go ahead.
Or I think Cindy was talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah.
Hi, Cindy.
That's okay.
Hi. Sorry, guys. I don't know how to turn off my speaker.
Here, hold on one sec.
Click on the microphone and just mute your microphone, Cindy. That's the easiest way to do it.
I sent her a request. Makes it
good.
Okay, so again, what we do to scrub an estimate, you go through the profiles. These are the default profiles that'll be set up. Tom works with us quite often to try to customize these to make sure it's got all the neat little new SGI rules and tools. Then all you have to do, click choose file, go out wherever you have it set up. In this case, I just have a place in my downloads. Select it, and then click on scrub estimate. And about an hour and a half later, you get the results. No, joking. It takes like 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And now you have the results.
There you go. Looks great. So this is your estimate pulled in, scrubber, and it's identifying 20 different opportunities through SGI's appraisal guidelines. And when we go through it, it's going to pick out, and some of the stuff you got to use a little bit of common sense when you're doing it. Like it's asking, well, how come the
state of the art
is different from the profile of $4? And obviously, if you're doing strictly a glass claim, it is only $54. Warren, you got to mute your microphone there, buddy boy. There you go. He did. Good. Thanks, Warren. And you'll notice on this one here, it picked up because we just recently had a paint material rate change. It's picked that up. And you right now are going to see quite a bit of that because that rate just took effect on April the 1st, right? So it's pretty simple to have an estimate from a month or two ago show up and run through your system that you don't even think about it. And all of a sudden, man, I missed out on, in this case here, there's like $11 difference on those paint material rates. And it could be, you know, $100 or more pretty quick. As we go through, and I still got work to do, but we've got things like the adhesive nameplate templates. Some of you are liking them, some of you hate them, but they exist. And we're addressing that, by the way, with the SGI technical subcommittee, because I think they just didn't roll it out properly. Like they didn't explain what they were trying to do and how it works. And there's a few little things we got to make adjustments to the program. But in any case, this is telling you, please, we've identified the nameplates, adhesive templates. And if you don't use them, it's going to cost you money. Let's put it that way. Now, when we walk through line by line here, I mean, you can just go through and you pick through it. And you got to use your judgment. You have to obviously have some estimating background. And it's asking any line that's asterisk means it's a manual entry. So you want to go look at it and say, why is that done? In this case here, I think it's a hail claim we're looking at, if I'm not mistaken. This is the 2011 Ford. Yeah, I think this is a hail claim. So chances are on those lines, those asterisks, you still should check them and make sure. Anybody ever had it happen in your store where you're doing a hail job and you're not sure the time you're going to put on it and you left it blank? Well, this will catch that too. And I think it might show up here a little bit later. But anytime there's an asterisk, you want to look and make sure that those things are correct. Betterment and complete paint jobs. I don't think we have that, Joe, do we, in this province right now? But
No.
it's obviously picked it up in the profile that Estimate Scrubber uses. Clean adhesive. There's no adhesive removal was found. So, you know, you're going to look at it and say, how many moldings am I taking off this vehicle? And it's suggesting that there's, looks like about 7 or 8 lines there that you should be looking at molding adhesive removal. Corrosion protection. Now it's going to ask you if you've got the correct amount of panels, and you got to know the formula for it. It's 0.5 for the first panel and 0.2 for every other one. In this case, it's telling us that there's roughly 7 panels. Then, of course, we got the COVID fee, which is still in effect. Destructive weld tests. Right now, we're eligible for 0.5 per claim. And then I believe it's 0.3 for each additional test. I think they only allow 2 right now, if I'm not mistaken. But if you're doing any welding on this vehicle, it's telling you to make sure you check for that. The KPI calculator, this goes back to when we initially started the Estimate Scrubber. And it, you know, remember when it was so important to have your score and know exactly what it was? Well, they pretty much dropped estimate claim severity. It doesn't even exist anymore. But you're going to start seeing things like ask versus accept. You're going to see dollars at risk. And so I'll be working with Bo and Stephen to get those things put in the KPI calculator so that you know while you're doing the estimate, am I going to be getting a lousy score here, and am I going to lose points because I don't have the right, I guess, estimate put together? Maybe I need to revisit my estimate. Then it goes into things like fill, sand, feather. And if it's asking you in any area where there's repair done, it's going to ask you to figure it out, 0.1 per square foot. This, by the way, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. This is going to change right away. Our technical subcommittee has met with SGI, and they've identified that they need to allow a little bit more time for the first square foot and then make adjustments afterwards. So you're going to see it probably at the end of April, a change to fill, sand, and feather, and we'll reflect that in the scrubber. And that's the cool thing. When things change, like Bo says, we can make that change pretty much overnight, right, Bo?
Pretty much, yeah. You know, there, if you have some information that that SGI says, or that you guys have come up and said, hey, let's make this change. It isn't 2 months. It might not be overnight, but it's, you know, within a couple of days at least.
And usually if I have enough advance notice, I'll let you know in advance. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So then they're talking about PDR sublet, and there's basically he's talking about the different sublets that are allowed on the panel. And I'm just trying to read it here. I was kind of looking more for, there's a sublet service fee is what I'm more interested in. Anytime it goes out of the shop, you know, are you entitled to charge that $35 fee? If you're in the country and you got to bring it someplace, there is a travel allowance that's allowed, and perhaps I could maybe allow that. If you're driving in from out of town, it would be a benefit to the shops in the rural areas. Keep going down a little bit there, Bo.
Oops, sorry.
No problem. It's interesting. Like you got the repair end date. These are little things that we got to have on the estimate. It's just telling you, hey, I don't see the end date. And in many cases, you're not going to have it when you're doing the estimate, but it's just kind of, when it's good to do the scrubber, I would think, at the very beginning when you do your estimate, and at the very end before you send it in for payment with SGI, just to make sure you've captured everything. And it's going to pick up that kind of stuff. This next one that Russ is interesting. I remember one time Lloyd Giles, he looked at that and he says, wow, that truck's more than 3 years old. So he went out and asked one of the guys, did you have to replace any bolts? Oh yeah, I had 3 of them I had to replace. Well, it just kind of tweaks you to ask those questions, because sometimes the technician, he's in a hurry to get things done and he just does the job, and maybe you're not billing for it when you could be. So again, there's the sublet diagnostic fee. I don't know if we got it straightened out yet. We had a thing with the pre and post scans. I don't think that got adjusted in this, did it, Bo?
It has not been adjusted yet, but within the next couple of days, we should have that done.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Oh, Shane, we're hearing you picking up on the phone here. If you want to mute your microphone, that'd be great. Okay. I think we pretty much covered that. And can we go back to the top of the page there, Bo? Now, did we have?
What you looking? What you
Maybe we
looking?
go ahead.
What you looking for?
I wanted to talk a little bit about this, the Wiki program that we've got set up. If you want to explain that to people, this one here, you'll see on the left-hand side of the page, it's talking about this Scrubber Wiki. What is the Scrubber Wiki? And it's got some items that are covering this model are available for the shop. And he's also got curated links. I'll let you explain what those are, Bo, if you don't mind.
No problem. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Wikipedia or something like this, but what we've done is we've created a community where people are able to create wiki items that can be anything that you want. Anything that you want. And it can be set up to be particular to a specific make, model, year. You know, in this case, with the Ford Escape, we noticed that up here it says there's a wikis covering this model are available from this shop. So in other words, that this shop, which is Tom, has created wiki items and put them in there, and then also has shared them with all of you. So there would actually be, they would be, if you weren't in Tom's shop, they'd be over here in the shared wiki items. And in this case, hold on, I did a bad thing. I forgot to silence my phone. Guess who it is, Tom?
Steven.
Steven.
Yeah.
He has bad timing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what this does is this gives you an opportunity to share information with whoever you want. At this particular time, it would be everybody within the SAAR organization or association. And then the curated links, these are items that our software actually goes through and just pulls information from the internet that is particular to this specific make and model of a car. So these will always have some sort of information in there that is just information that is things that may pertain or that you can look at and go, hey man, check this out, this is cool stuff. But the actual wiki items are items that are shared that should, like Tom has got, and I'll let you explain the actual items that you put in there. But these are particular to, I believe, the Ford.
These ones are actually any make and model. What I did here, folks, is I went into the SGI's appraisal policy manual, and I pulled out the masking policies. We just had a change to that just recently. And so I basically just took the pages and I've made a PDF of it and I pulled it down. So when your appraiser, your estimator is doing the job, he can look right at the up-to-date latest appraisal procedure from SGI. The other one happens to do with the grid system, so that when you're actually measuring off a panel, so it can, all the instructions are right there so you can actually look at it. And what I did is when I set this Scrubber Wiki up, I set it as a kind of a blanket, any Ford, any job, any estimate. But if I wanted to, I could have had, say, something very specific to the Ford vehicle, the Escape. Maybe there's a part that when you order it, the clips don't show up or the rivets don't show up, or maybe there's some kind of a hack that you can give some instructions to a shop that will save them time doing the repair, like how to get the headliner down or how to get the door handle off, or whatever it is. You can actually insert that. You, the user, can insert that in and make it on that specific 2011 to 2014 Ford Escape, for example. The ones that I did, and you'll see right where he's pointing the quick wiki entry, if you click on that. So there you go. It's giving you what's the title. Can we just make something up? Let's say that we'll call it, well, let's say door handle removal, and we'll use it on this particular vehicle. So we're going to take the Ford Escape. There you go. And then model year, let's say from 2011 to 2014. And folks, some of you might have more concrete examples. I'm just making this up to show you how it works. Right?
You also have you also have the ability to put in specific verbiage.
Yeah.
If there's like a word or two or something in there.
Yep. And then information to display. Now, I think there it's just a description of what you're going to do. Like, let's just say procedures on, to remove the door handle safely without breaking the clips, just as an example.
I can't spell.
No problem. I type the same way. So effectively what happens here, folks, is that each and every user of the Estimate Scrubber can actually help improve the product for everybody in the province by taking the time to add a Scrubber Wiki into it. So in this case here, he's going to select the front door. He's going to, if you want to attach a PDF or a link, you can use an internet, for example, if you went online to Google and it showed you where it was, or if you had a document, you can scan it, make it into a PDF. You can actually insert it right into the, choose the file. You can pick one from your file anywhere, I guess, and we'll delete this afterwards.
I'll just give you that one.
Yeah, we'll just
Same
take
one.
that. So what he's done now is he's inserted the file in there, and then you would just say share the wiki with other shops. Well, you bet. Now, if it's something that's just for your shop, I mean, if you want to have a specific, it could be just something you do a process you do within your own shop, you wouldn't be sharing it with everybody else. But if it's repair information that's going to benefit the entire community of body shops, click that that arrow there, and then just click add wiki, and it's in the program.
And one thing that we really try to push on the shops also is this is a great place to put your standard operating procedures. You know, there is a specific something that, you know, you as a shop or an MSO want to have done the same way on every single Ford Escape this year, whatever. You're able to take your standard operating procedures, put it in a PDF, and have it show up there. That way it's right there, and, you know, available, easy access for anybody who runs that kind of car.
Yeah, a good example of that too, Bo, would be, for example, if you had a kind of an estimate or appraisal procedure in your shop, you know, make sure you got the mileage, make sure you got all 4 pictures, make sure you've got the odometer or whatever, you know, the license plate, everything. You'd have your own little,
It should be done here if you want.
You can make a PDF of that and put it in and make it available to all makes and models. So it'll show up on every job. So when you're, whether, I remember talking one time to Shane Goller, and he says that he doesn't do estimates all the time anymore. Oh, we got that microphone. We've got to figure out how to, anyway, he mentioned that he doesn't do estimates all the time. So for him, it's handy when he does an estimate, he uses the estimate scrubber and it tweaks his, oh yeah, I forgot about that. You know, like you might think, oh yeah, I'm good at this. I've done it a million times, but it's always good to have that information right in front of you. So using the scrubber wiki, just as simple as adding that to your estimate and sharing it with other shops is going to benefit like absolutely everybody across the province. The more users that we have doing the scrubber wiki, the more opportunity we have to get a more complete estimate for everybody. Does that make sense? If we go back to the estimate page where the scrub was done, there's a couple things I wanted to share with you folks. You'll see on the top right hand side, there's the SGI rejection list, and maybe we can just pull that down. And about a year or a year and a half ago, I talked to Lyle and Druziak at SGI, and I said, could you give us the top 10 reasons that you guys are rejecting files? Like, what's your pain points? So like, what's driving you crazy that the shops could easily fix if they just made sure they checked off all these boxes? And so this is a list that they did, and it's actually 11. He's just such a good guy. He didn't do 10, he did 11. And it probably, I think there might be some SGI guys on the call right now, but and if there are, feel free to speak up. There's probably a few items that could be added to this list, quite frankly. Like, what are the reasons you guys are getting rejections out there? Any SGI guys on the call that could lean in on that? Nobody. Okay. Maybe there's a body shop.
We got some folks on the call. This is Kieran Downs.
Oh, hi, Kieran.
Thanks for putting this on, Tom. I excuse me. There's probably I want to just confirm for a fact that the photo element still seems to be one of the, you know, the highest piece for sure, and it's sort of, and again, if you're looking at the root cause, it's sort of, you know, helping the image and audit teams to understand the request. I'm just I think the other one that seems to come up, and I'm just curious, I was just looking at that thing again. A couple of the other ones that keep coming up, and again, I'm not saying these are top 10 by any stretch, but you know, other things that are kind of interesting is the what you call it, things like adding in the scanning, right? Like, it's funny how folks seem to forget to do that, right? Adding in the scan elements. And the other thing that's probably going to become very important to us is in the new world, is going to be, especially around the KPIs, is looking at cycle time measurements, right? And making sure that those are entered in accurately and correctly, because we're going to have a new way of entering cycle time in Mitchell Cloud estimating. And so it'll be a little different. Actually, that was just one of the questions too, if you don't mind. It sounds like Estimate Scrubber seems to be calibrated for estimates generated using Ultimate. Is that same like with Mitchell Cloud? They do look a little bit different, but is there any concerns with that new look?
Nope, we're good. we're very familiar with Mitchell, and yes, we can scrub the cloud, so they're fine.
I
Perfect.
think they actually did a pilot project with the guys in Manitoba, Kieran, and I forget the name of the shop, but he did quite a few estimates with Stephen and Bo. I think there were some tweaks that were needed. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bo, but
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of a whole different animal because our software actually goes through and physically reads the estimate, line by line. So we kind of had to teach it how to read the cloud. Not super difficult, but there was a lot of changes that we had to put in there. But it does go through and work with the cloud estimates, no problem.
One other quick question, and this just and again this is wonderful, and it's just some of these questions that are going to pop up, and I can already hear like our privacy guys asking about this. And just so you know, with SGI, we've committed to working with SAAR, and this is one of our top priorities, I guess. So we're going to have to, we're going to have some working groups on this very, very soon. But one of the questions likely going to come up is the information when you read the estimate. Are you taking the header info as well? And where does it go? Is it go to the States? Because we enter us in our data here in Canada. We just don't want you guys in the States. I'm just joking, but it kind of is a thing that we have to deal with.
We do not share or do anything with the data itself. We're there for the shop.
Right.
We're not gathering data or anything like that. Especially headers. There may be for some of the statistics, there may be some line items and dollar amounts that we are not
Yep.
dollar amounts, but labor times that we may pool up for some of our statistics to help other shops figure out, who's getting paid or how they're getting paid where. But personal data.
I don't think any of that's a concern, honestly. That kind of anonymized data where you can sort of, creating that understanding what's going on with the with some of the times. I certainly know it certainly doesn't breach kind of the SGI's privacy concerns. I don't know what the end user agreement is with Mitchell. That might be another thing, but in general, it certainly doesn't. That's not the concern. It's the customer. It's the private information, like the customer's personally identifiable information. That's the only stuff that there could be. And again, when I say issue, it's all resolvable. It's just that we need to be aware of it and make sure that we've got the right process in place. By no means is this like, stop doing it. I don't mean that. I'm just saying there might be a couple of extra steps kind of on the back end that we might have to take just to ensure the security of the customer's information. That's all.
yeah. I think there's nothing goes across the border that I'm aware of, Kieran. It's because what it's actually doing is reading the PDF version of the estimate and then printing a report or providing a report based on
it. But where does the logic take place? Is it done on a server? Like, do you understand what I mean? Is it done locally? Because are you downloading? Because that'd be a pretty heavy desktop version to have to kind of download.
It's all cloud-based. But the thing is that estimate doesn't end up in a file somewhere in San Diego. It reads the estimate, gets the data that it needs to help scrub it based on the profile that we've given it. And when we're done, it's done. Like the only place that stays is on the desktop of the shop that did this.
The only thing I would ask, because this is really exciting, and I'm really thankful you guys letting us look at this, is would it be possible to get a list of the fields that it collects, that your system collects, and just let us know what does it collect, and essentially, where does it go? Is it stored? Is all your data warehousing in Canada? Is it in the US? And what are the fields off the estimate that you're actually consuming to do your analysis? We could get that. That would be great. And again, we can make sure that that our privacy guys. We do this. Sorry, again, awesome product for sure. This is awesome. It's just that because we're the ones that actually generally supply that information in the first place. There's no statute of limitations. We're kind of responsible for it from its whole life cycle.
Yeah,
which is crazy, but that's how it works. So.
No, that's a good question, Kieran, and we can get that stuff figured out for those guys to get an answer.
No, and it's good. All good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. but having said that, like I say, this particular document is a really good example where, and Lyle just put a note saying, yeah, it's still pretty relevant. But I think Karen made a good point there with the changes that are coming to the new KPIs and that we may have to tweak this a little bit. And that's the cool thing, is that we have the ability to work with this program and make the changes relatively quickly. And in this particular case, this document here can be updated. But it's still a good idea every now and then when you're doing an estimate to remind your appraisers. Maybe you won't even want to pin it on the wall and have those guys read through this stuff and just check. Before I send this in, are the photos going to pass the smell test? And you know, if you hand a photo that you took at your shop to somebody else, say, can you tell me what this is? And they don't know, maybe you need to take another picture, right? So what we're trying to do here, folks, is, like I said at the start, we want you to capture each and every line item that you're entitled to based on the current agreement with SGI. But we also are going to tweak the program so that you're not sending in an estimate that's going to get rejected, because that's the last thing SGI wants. It's the last thing you want. It costs you time and money when that happens. And so the purpose of it is to kind of work both sides, making sure that everybody's being treated fairly. Any other questions on that?
One thing I want to kick in is just the important part is we're not there to tell you guys how to do your estimates. We're not saying that you're doing your estimates right or wrong. It's just as a second set of eyes. You know, like Tom said, it's just capturing those things that may have been overlooked or may have been seen. You know, it's just a second set of eyes to look at the estimate and say, hey, you know, is this something that we may have missed or should add in there?
Right. And
Yeah, no, Tom, this is Lyle here. It's all this is really good, and like you showed a little bit earlier about the masking procedures, and that's the one thing. And a lot of feedback we're getting is a lot of people wants a little bit more support and information on masking, the masking policy and stuff. So that'd be very helpful as well.
yeah, you know, the nice thing is that I can go into SGI's appraisal manual and I can print the document as a PDF, save it, pull it in there, and post it into the wiki, which is great. When we're talking about specific situations, Kieran, I'm thinking back when we did that little Chevy Cruze that Scuffy fixed, where it had welding in the resistance welder, it had the MIG brazing welding, and then it had the pop rivets on the bottom of the quarter panel. We also found that just recently on a Cadillac. And the sad part is that Mitchell Estimating doesn't show those rivets in their database, estimating database. And that would be a really quick and easy thing to miss. So that would be a great wiki to put in saying, don't forget to order the rivets for this vehicle because probably the GM dealer doesn't stock them. That would be the type of thing that you would specifically put to a job. Things like the masking time or the grid system or whatever are general things that we'll put on every vehicle. So
you can separate it out by type of vehicle. Like you can have a very, like, I'm just going to use, let's say there's some specific, and I apologize, you probably went through this already, but like you looked in that wiki, there looked like year, make, model kind of stuff, right? So if I'm just using an example, let's say we had a very specific interpretation on a repair procedure on a certain type of vehicle. So we reached out to Ford, for example, and they give us, we had some questions because their repair procedures weren't the best. Okay, and we got some clarification right from Ford. We could literally plug that in here, and then everyone, you know, it's right there. No more like we work together. We come up with an answer. We share it in that, and then everyone's got access to it.
Yeah, exactly what we're talking about. Just an example that was very recent is we had a shop that was working on a Hyundai, and they were not totally clear whether you had to put like a backing plate where they joined the panel together. And, you know, they basically went on, well, best practices say, let's put the backing plate in there and let's weld it up. And there's a lot of discussion about that particular thing now saying, no, it should have just been a straight butt weld. Well, that would be a great example of one where you would, if somebody's working on a Hyundai, you put that wiki in there, and when they work on that vehicle, it'll flag it and it'll pull it up saying, don't bother putting the backing plate in, just use the butt weld and you're good to go. So you're exactly right, Kieran. That's the advantage of this. And then everybody gets it at the same time. That's the beauty of it. And if you're not working on it handy, well, that thing's not going to show up, so it's great. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the neat thing, folks, is that Bo doesn't have to enter that, or I don't have to enter that. You can enter that information just by putting in right here where it says quick wiki entry, boom, you're into it. Just walk through. If you have questions or you're not sure, at the very top, it tells you how to add it, tells you how to manage it, tells you how to share it, gives you the instructions how to do it. If even after all that, you're totally confused, I'm sure that Bo would take your call and he would help you with it. So
Please, yep, I have no issues with it. I'm always available.
yeah. So it's such a great little tool, and this here is an opportunity for SGI, the body shops, estimating firms. Everybody can enter data into that and make those adjustments so that people know we're going to literally have the entire province helping you do the estimate when we use the Scrapper Wiki. And it takes time to populate. This is not going to happen overnight. So the more users that we have using it, and the more users that are accessing the data entry with the wiki, it's going to do nothing but improve it for everybody. So one last thing while we're talking, there is a section here somewhere where it actually goes to the P pages.
Yep.
You've got it set up here on the right hand side.
I was not going to let you leave without that.
Yeah, and kind of going through that, that'd be great, Bo.
No problem. What we've done is we've made the P pages easy. If you come over here to the estimating tools and you go to pre-estimate check sheet and click on that, let's say that you have a car with right front quarter panel. And you come over here and you just select the section of the damage. You click on Mitchell. And what our software does is goes through and pulls up all of the pertinent P pages for that specific area that was of damage. Or any, let's say you choose like a hood, our software will go through and pull up all of the P pages for anything that is in front of the hood, so that may have been damaged. So instead of you going through and spending 45 minutes to an hour rooting around through Mitchell's P pages, you just click this and now you have links to all of the different areas. And these are actual DP pages, the direct deep.
Oh, well, you keep it up, you'll get on.
Deep links directly into Mitchell's P pages. So it isn't anything that we're trying to keep updated or whatnot. And it gives you the opportunity also to have multiples open. Whereas if you're in Mitchell, you're stuck at looking at one at a time and then going and trying to find the other one and rooting around. Again, the software is not trying to tell you how to do your estimate. We're just trying to make it as easy as possible to help you guys out and to give you just some more tools to make your life easy and make sure you're not missing anything.
Excellent, excellent stuff. I'm wondering, just as we're looking at that, I'm wondering, guys, if we were to put the up-to-date long expansions into that estimating tools that are specific to the SGI estimates, if we could add that in there, would that be a benefit? I know it's already in Mitchell too, but for somebody that's doing an estimate on the road, especially when we're looking at cloud estimating, you'll be able to do an estimate on your tablet out in the parking lot someplace. So, it'd be the more information we can put at your fingertips, the better it is for you to get a complete estimate. Perfect.
And we're definitely, we're looking for as much information as we can, through Tom to make this the best tool that possible for you guys. That's what we're here for. We're here to make the shops happy and make sure that the estimates are more complete and you guys are getting paid for the work that you're doing.
Yep. Good. How are we doing for time? Good.
Yeah.
Any questions at this stage of the game, folks?
Hey, Tom, is there a charge for this?
Of course. What we do is we've set up an arrangement with the folks at Scrubber. If you want to try it out, they're kind enough to give a 1 month free trial. So you actually, Bo will set you up. You just contact me and I'll send your information to Bo. He'll set you up, give you a month to try it for free, and make sure you like it. Make sure you can use it easily. I'll be honest with you, a lot of shops, they get it and then they don't take the time to use it because, oh, I got this figured out. I can do these estimates myself. I don't need that. Well, all it takes is something like a price change on paint material that you miss, and it pays for itself. Right now, we're charging $1,000 Canadian for a 1 year subscription. It's the easiest way for us to do it because we don't have it set up where you can pay monthly on a credit card or anything. So we'll give you a month free to play with it, and then we sell you a year for $1,000 Canadian. And when it's up for renewal, we'll let you know, and away you go. The key thing is we do track through Scrubber. We track how many people are actually using the Scrubber, and the people that use it on a regular basis, they always renew. The ones that don't use it that often, and it's just it's another job that I have to do to track people down and convince them to use it. But it's the old saying, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make you use it, right? That makes sense? So anybody that wants to try it, send me an email and we'll get you set up. And then if you say, yeah, let's do this, $1,000 for the year, and away we go.
And that price includes setup, and of course that also includes all of the workstations. The licensing is per shop, so you can actually have it on as many workstations as you want. You can have as many estimators as you want, and then also the estimates themselves, that's unlimited also. You can scrub as many estimates as you want. So it isn't we're trying to nickel and dime and get every little teeny piece out of you guys. It's just a set fee. Here you go. Now run with it and use it as much as you want, or ignore it. One or two.
Right.
But the more you use it, and again, it isn't, hey, I know how to do all of this. It's just that second set of eyes. It's just that, hey, I'm a busy man. Everybody around here is a busy person. Let me scrub it real quick. Oh, dang, I did miss that. Let me throw that in there. Or, it's not telling you the estimate is right or wrong, just trying to give you that second set of eyes. Point out the easy stuff.
The other thing, folks, besides the Scrubber Wiki, where we would ask for help from the users, is that the Scrubber function itself, like, if there's things that are redundant and you say, I don't want to see that anymore, or things that you don't see in the Scrubber that you think we should have in there, all you have to do is let me know, and then I'll get a hold of Bo. And like he says, within a couple, 3 days, unless it's something totally weird, within a couple, 3 days, we can have that removed or added to the system. So the big thing is that, and I apologize, I don't work every day estimating like you guys do anymore. I'm almost 5 years ago that I quit doing that, if you can imagine. So you guys are way more the expert than I am. And, I'm trying to feed information to Bo based on stuff that I did 5 years ago. It's tough. But if you could give me the feedback, tell me what you want to see or what you don't want to see, then we can make those changes pretty quickly. So we need a little help there. So anyway, is there anything else, any questions? Anything else you'd like to share, guys? Joe Card, if you're still on the line, you've used this fairly extensively. Do you have any comments?
Not too much, Tom. I think the biggest one that Bo brought up was just sharing the information and communicating. The only way to make this system as good as it can be is that for folks to share, and that it doesn't do the estimate for you, but it certainly, I've done quite a few estimates for people, and then using the program has directed me to some small tidbits here and there to make sure that it's the estimate is complete. And you add all those up and it easily pays for itself in a couple weeks. So
good. plus from SGI's point of view, and then they're on the line, I've invited them to this meeting, is that, folks, we're trying to work in concert with those guys to help eliminate the rejections and of course the subsequent audits that come from that. And if we can head them off at the pass, like maybe in some cases it's not going to give you the answer you want to hear, but it's going to give you the right answer, right? And there's no sense sending the file in if it's just going to be slapped back on your desk again. And it's just time and money wasted for both you and the SGI folks. So if we can, you guys got suggestions there from SGI side, we're open to that as well. Please let us know and we'll make the changes as necessary.
No, thanks, Tom. And let's, like I mentioned, we kind of want to formalize this a little bit. And this is a great introduction to the product and really kind of gives us some insights into it. And our plan is to connect, like obviously through our technical committee, within the next, I'm hoping the next couple of weeks at least, on this exact issue, see what we can move ahead on. Because I think we committed to you guys that, this is important when it comes to assisting industry be more like process estimates more efficiently and effectively, reduce returns, reduce, supplement requests, those types of things, and see what we can do to keep speeding it up. So this is one of those options that the SAAR team had brought forward, and we're excited to kind of work through with you guys. So it.
Good. Yeah, in a perfect world, wouldn't it be nice if we could just do the job, send the sheet in, get paid, go to the next job? That's the goal. So anyway, I think we're pretty much done. We want to respect your time. You guys have time to grab a bite of your sandwich before you get back to work. As we move through this and as we add things, from time to time, I'll be asking Bo if we could do another lunch and learn just to bring everybody up to date, because I think I haven't done as good a job in communicating with you as I could have, and finally realized, hey, we've got Zoom, we can sit down over lunch hour. Even if we spend 20-30 minutes just going over the changes, it's going to benefit everybody. So look forward to hearing from you folks. If you have any questions and you're too shy to speak up on this call, feel free to email me at director@saar.com and I'll do what I can to answer your questions.
One more quick question, is that okay? Just
Sure.
a really fast one. You were just talking about the cost, and I know it's budgetary, whatever, and that's great. But was it, you mentioned $1,000 per year. Now that was by location. Is that correct? Like, how many users would you get for kind of one license for this?
The licensing is per shop. So you can have as many estimators sitting down on as many computers as you want, as long as they're all in that same shop.
Gotcha. Or in the new world of remote working environments, the same business kind of area, I guess, whatever.
Well, basically, you get an account set up with your name and profile and your password, and I mean, obviously, you could share your password with anybody you want to, but we know that everybody in the collision industry is honest and decent and fair. And
this isn't Netflix, right? So let's.
This is not Netflix.
Yeah, so I mean, the reality is that especially if you're using the Scrubber Wiki for internal best practices and that kind of stuff, it's probably not a good idea to be sharing it with everybody else. You're sharing your inner secrets, so to speak, right? But bottom line is, SGI could literally buy one subscription and give it to everybody, but I know you guys would probably buy it for each claim center for sure.
And that's what I'm thinking about, like, or groups, or I'm just curious, like, how that might work. Yeah.
No, and we can talk about that. I mean, the reality is we're trying to find the tool that's going to help all the shops get paid for what they do. You and I have talked about this, Kieran, and you're in total agreement. Yes, we want you to be paid for what you do, but we don't want you putting stuff on the estimate that shouldn't be there. That's the whole goal of this. So,
yeah,
nice clean estimate for both sides. Good.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You bet. Well, thanks everybody for taking time out of your day, and we'll be in touch when we're ready to do the next lunch and learn. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Cool. Thank you very much. You need anything, give me a holler.
You bet. All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
You
Thank
got it.
you.
Thanks again, Bo. Appreciate everything.
Mhm.